Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and I'm going over kind of the Fresh Summit that should have been. We obviously couldn't meet in person, so let's have a Zoom. And I have Kim Chackal here from Equifruit in Montreal. And I've known Equifruit for a while. I've even got some Equifruit swag. And I don't know, I remember seeing this ball when you guys were giving them away.
Yes.
And I knew my soccer players had to have one.
Awesome. Yeah, and they made some awesome videos.
Yeah, they kicked it around a fair amount out of the turf fields. I don't let them take it in the mud. But I wanted to talk to you about some just fantastic growth that Equifruit has had over the last few years and what has spurred that change. So first of all, how are you guys doing in Montreal? And, you know, what was the Fresh Summit that you wish had been?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this was supposed to be our first time exhibiting at Fresh Summit too. We were thinking about it for years and always hearing that it was a great show. And we were ready to get started with, pursuing the US market. So we were disappointed, I think, like everybody else, but had it happened, it would have been our first time really showing everybody what our brand is all about, how we're innovating in a category that has traditionally just been promoted on price, and how we have just a totally opposite business model.
And I've been well familiar with Equifruit for a while. I met y'all at a CPMA a few years ago. I can't even remember how long ago it's been.
Yeah.
And I've even visited you in Montreal and spoke to a working group for the World Banana Forum on behalf of your CEO, Jenny Coleman. And since then, though, we did a little tour of Montreal and visited some customers. But back then, I feel like you guys were a scrappy little company, really just ready to go. And what has changed since 2018?
Yeah, a lot has changed since 2018. The company's grown, sales have grown tremendously, but a real change for us came in 2020 when it was clear to us with the beginning of the pandemic that life was on hold, all of the networking events were canceled. We started to think about the ways that we could improve. And so one idea for us was to start playing around with our website, which had a very earnest vibe to it. And we just thought, if we're going to open up that can of worms, I put in my 2 cents and said, I really don't like our website. I think it's nice, but it doesn't really serve me as director of sales and marketing. It doesn't serve me as an extension of my sales. Like I'm not proud to send anybody to the Equifruit, or I wasn't proud to send anybody to the Equifruit website. It was kind of just, it was just nice, but a little bit boring. And it was kind of all over the place. Like the journey was confusing. We're a Fairtrade banana brand. We're trying to get people excited about our mission as a company with our 100% Fairtrade promise. And that just kind of didn't come through. It looked like every other Fairtrade company out there. And so we were very fortunate with COVID that it didn't impact us negatively as a company, but rather everybody started. I mean, I remember your posts on banana bread. I remember I don't know how many bananas you had on your counter, but like several dozen at one point. So I think everybody was going nuts and buying a lot of bananas. And we were just really fortunate in that it allowed us to immediately invest in marketing. So we partnered with this incredible agency in Montreal called Tux, like tuxedo. And we just said, look, we want to do better. We want to change maybe our name. We want to change our website. We want to just be able to tell our message in a way that works. And so we signed up for the full package with them, redid our website, redid our social media strategy. We redid the packaging on our bananas. And really, they spent so much time getting to know what works and what doesn't work. What's the experience of our customers? They did a ton of stakeholder interviews. And what we ended up with was this branding that, I mean, pretty bold. The only banana you should buy. When they first pitched that idea to us, I felt mildly nauseous for a second because I knew that I was going to have to deliver that message in a pitch. And what we learned in the process was, we're a group of we happen to all be women. We're a group of women who are trying to disrupt the entire banana industry and get people to pay a sustainable price for bananas. And we just realized that if you're not loud and proud about what it is that you do, you're just going to kind of coast by, and people are going to keep patting you on the head and encouraging you. And we just decided to go bold or go home. So we went for a full 180. Now you jump on our website, and I'm so proud to send people to equifruit.com. It feels like a video game. There's sharks, there are flying bananas. And it's as if, even though we've been in business for 15 years, it's as if we're a new brand, and people are asking us about how we're doing what we're doing and how sales have grown. And we're speaking on all kinds of panels about sustainability and marketing to Gen Z and millennials. And it's super cool to see that this messaging has landed, right? Because a rebrand, this is what you want of a rebrand, and we're getting that experience that we had invested in. Super excited about it.
It's an attitude that I feel like, knowing most of you folks for 3 or 4 years at least, I know a lot of you guys had this attitude before.
I know.
You felt this way. So for this agency to come out and really just nail it for you guys. This attitude fits you guys so well, and I love the posts. I follow almost every produce brand that I can get a hold of, and the people who are handling your social media, it just seems like you're catching just the right eyes. How have your metrics looked for you guys, and where did you start with your social media, and what are you getting with it now, and how does it make you feel, basically? I don't know.
In the past, we had social media. We had Facebook, we had Twitter. I think we had a LinkedIn page, and we had started Instagram, but we weren't incredibly active on them. We would just keep posting pictures of our farmers and visits to our farmers in Peru and Ecuador, and people were like, oh, that's nice, oh, that's nice. And there wasn't a lot of engagement. We also we weren't taking the time to invest our time in it as well. The strategy that Tux proposed, and now we're just a team of 3 on my marketing team that oversee our socials, and we'll launch TikTok in a couple of months too. The strategy was like, let's move away from that earnest kind of granola crunchy vibe that a lot of, and like, bless their hearts, that a lot of fair trade brands, that it's working for them. It wasn't working for us. Nobody was caring about what we were doing as much as we were. And there's nothing more frustrating than being passionate about something and feeling like you're just stuck in a box. So this new vibe really, as you said, it matched our personality and our boldness and our passion was always there. But really, one of the strategists, well, really the whole team at Tux was incredible, but especially this one strategist, her name is Stacy, and she's like, your whole branding is just not as cool as you guys. You're a bunch of badasses, and like, I'm not feeling that. So our social media strategy really changed, where we decided as a brand that we were sick of being ignored. We're trying to change the banana industry. We don't have 100 years to do it. We want to do it as quickly as we can. And so in order to do that, we have to be impossible to ignore. So really bright boxes, really crazy messages on our bananas, the only banana to reverse aging. This looks like it has some sunspots on there. Totally nuts social media, where, as you said, we have a pulse on what's happening in popular culture, and we're just jumping onto what's happening and then trying to get people to pay attention to fair trade and why is it important to support fair trade. So our metrics are far more impressive than they were in the past. I have very ambitious goals for the team. I want to get to 10,000 followers on our Instagram page by the end of the year. Our LinkedIn is really exploding, our Twitter, our French Twitter, our Facebook. And now we're all learning about TikTok and how to do that, which I don't know if you have any hot tips for us, but that's like a whole, that's like a full-time job, it seems like.
Take a class from Shay Myers from Hawaii. He's the one who is the TikTok master. I really believe that those of us in the produce industry with an authentic story can take that attitude and tell it authentically. And really go far on TikTok, because produce TikTok is a wasteland of bad information. So we all need to get out there and actually inject our good information out there to try to catch that. And the algorithm is so easy to catch. If you just catch one little thing, you'll go viral. So I'm excited for you guys to get onto TikTok, because I feel like there is a really hungry audience for a fun and funny, but also authentic message. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Us too. Wish us luck.
Well, what the other thing that I've seen is that not only have you guys grown your recognizability, your cred basically in the produce industry, and LinkedIn helps a lot with that. You mentioned sustainability panels, of course, but I'm also seeing a lot of business, and a big announcement not too long ago, Costco in Canada. That's fantastic. Longos in Canada. What have those done for you guys? And just, wow, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It feels really nice. We've just started a trial with Costco in Ontario in the GTA that just started a week ago, and it's going really well so far. They've been supportive. It's been a long journey. The Costco discussion started 5-6 years ago. I think that all of these discussions really started. I'm in my 7th year now, and a lot of them started at the very beginning. If we backtrack to Longos, because that was really huge for us. Longos, they were the first conventional retailer in North America to make a 100% commitment to an Equifruit Fairtrade banana program this year. So although we've had a partnership on organic bananas for 4 years, I think at this point, they just knew that with COVID, it was difficult to innovate, or there were just new challenges, right? You couldn't be sampling, you couldn't be speaking to your customers in stores. And they also had a much more limited selection in the produce section. And so they thought, sustainability is becoming more and more important to them. And the organic fair trade program has been incredibly successful. We increased tonnage by at least 30 points off the bat. So that was very exciting for them. So they said, let's try the conventional. It was a big risk to go from 69 cents a pound to 99 cents a pound on conventional bananas. Everybody else is paying 99 cents a pound for organic bananas. So to move up in that price range, they went for it, and we supported them heavily with marketing, with POS material, with social media. And then when they were ready in May, they said, this is working. We really haven't lost tonnage. Sales, of course, have increased because they've increased the retail price. And so we went for that full messaging, and just been so excited to see the support. Sometimes you don't know how people are going to receive news until you put it out into the world. And that's such a cool thing about social media. So, the press release that we crafted with their agency just got picked up like crazy. And all of a sudden, everybody was talking about this sustainable decision that Longos had made in their procurement policy. And it's really positioned them as a leader, as a thought leader in the space, because nobody else in North America has a 100% fair trade, one word, this certification.
Right.
Nobody else has a fair trade program. Nobody else is selling fair trade conventional bananas. Many people still think that fair trade is a niche thing for some organic customers who might care about paying farmers fairly. And we've just seen so much research come out in the last year, during COVID, that has shown that people care more than ever about paying farmers fairly. I think like the local movement really exploded, especially with the pandemic. And so now we're trying to shed that spotlight on growers in the global South, and the message is resonating.
Yeah, and I read something that really resonated with me as well, where we're talking about what has happened in Europe. And of course, that's the last time I saw Jenny.
Yeah, for Logistica.
For Logistica, and to have the one retailer crack. And perhaps this Longos here in North America can be your catalyst, your one retailer to crack and to actually have success doing it. That seems like, maybe we're on that moment in North America where we can see more retailers. Because like you've said, I've seen retailers that have 100% fair trade, but it's usually a co-op marketplace, right, or one of those very small niche retailers, maybe in rural Vermont. And to see someone like Longo's go just 100%, just maybe that's the cracking moment.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's the real distinction there, right? So not to take away from the co-ops and the independents who have had a 100% commitment, but it's only been organic because that's perhaps the only offering. So for a conventional retailer who has both conventional and organic bananas to make that full switch, it's a big deal, especially when traditionally conventionals can represent 90% of the category, right? So it's a really big deal. And it's a big win. You know, I have all of these stickies on my next to my desk to keep me focused. And one of my stickies, I was laughing at this today, March 29th, 2021, Longo's, yes. So we got that, I got that yes on March 29th. Like Mimo Franzoni from Longo's called me up to say, you know, the trial has been a success. Let's put the fruit on the water and let's plan for a May announcement. And I literally was in tears. Like I had to pull over on the side of the road and I couldn't express I'm gonna get all teary. I couldn't express the joy that I felt and the pride that I felt to be able to tell our farmers in Ecuador that they have done it. Look at me. I've never been teary.
I mean, you're getting me too here. So,
yeah.
I mean.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'll add to that. When I was my very first assignment working for Equifruit, it was 2014. I was in the middle of a mat leave. And so Jenny was generous enough to hire me onto the team. And we went to the Canadian Fairtrade Network conference at McGill University. And Harriet Lamb, who was previously the head of the Fairtrade Foundation, she came and she shared with us, you know, how the UK became what is now like 1/3 of all bananas sold in the fair, 1/3 of the bananas sold in the UK are fair trade certified. And so she had written this book called Fighting the Banana Wars. And I remember reading it and just like laughing it up and hearing about how Sainsbury's first started with this commitment. And within 6 months, Waitrose and the co-op also made this 100% commitment. And that kind of just changed the dialogue in Europe and set this example. And now you have in Switzerland, Switzerland's beating the UK. Switzerland's at over 50% because you have retailers like Migros who are huge and have this 100% commitment as well. It just shines light on what the opportunity is. And when I remember reading that chapter of that book and just thinking, if I work hard enough, we can do that in Canada. And if we can find strong partnerships in Canada, we can, you know, try to get that attention in the US and try to replicate that success in the US and just slowly change the industry.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. And I'm kind of in a teary moment here myself too. I see the potential and I see how you guys have changed over just the short amount of time. I've known you since 2014 is probably when I met a couple of you at a trade show. I don't know, what else can we talk about? I mean, this is it. This is our moment here.
Well, you know, I can remember the moment you came to our booth. I think it was CPMA 2015, and you were wearing one of your amazing produce outfits, and you had your pen and your paper. And I just remember you coming over and we're like, you know, trying to pitch you on fair trade bananas. And you're like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know the history of the banana industry. And oh yeah, I know about this and I know about that and this dark stuff. And we were like, oh, there's somebody else here who knows. And like, it was kind of this beacon of hope for us because not everybody knows the history of the banana industry. Not everybody knows why bananas are so cheap. We just assume that it's economies of scale. But like everybody listening to this call, we all work in produce. Has your shipping price gone up? Has your operational cost gone up in the last, let's just talk about the last 2 years.
Right.
So imagine for banana farmers, where in Canada, banana prices have not been adjusted for the cost of inflation even for the last 50 years. So somebody is bearing the brunt of this low cost bananas, and we just have to correct that. It's just time. And I know it sounds like it's a little bit overwhelming, but the great news is that it's firstly, it's an affordable switch, and that banana shoppers really buy on color. They don't buy on price. We're so you know, attached to that. I don't know where that data came from. It's false. We've never been able to objectively stack it up against the opposite, right? If bananas have only ever been cheap, then we can't say, well, if we increase the price, then nobody will buy them. Because who are we getting that data from? Globally, we have bananas at a price that's unsustainably low. And so you have to look at the example of an Equifruit or any other Fairtrade banana importer that are growing sales and are driving tonnage and innovation in that category.
Yeah, it's and I've probably had this conversation. I know I've given this conversation many times about the idea that everyone perceives a retailer's value on their price of bananas is attracting my grandmother as a shopper. It's not attracting me or you or any of the other, either, you know, half Gen X millennials down to Gen Z. And, you know, as the research has shown us, my good friend Anna Marie has some really great research about how the different age groups shop and their attitudes toward shopping. And while Gen Z may only control $1 out of 100, they're going to own the future of the dollars
in the next 5 years, for sure.
And so that this is where looking at your value proposition as a retailer, it's not 48 cents bananas, it's not 36-cent bananas, or I've even seen 28-cent bananas. And it's not there anymore. And that's where I become unobjective as a retail observer. And that, you know, that the idea, I had a retailer tell me that maybe 15 years ago is when bananas were in a force majeure contract pricing issue. And they told me, nobody's going to raise the price of bananas. They'll just take a loss on it because everybody knows you based on the price of your bananas. And that is 20 years ago. I don't think that's now.
Yeah, well, whoever did the keynote at that conference, like everybody was there and everybody memorized. Like if there was one thing they left from, you know, and retained after that conference, it was that one piece of data, which I think we've just disproven. I was doing a podcast this morning with this young woman who's in university and telling her a little bit about the produce industry and about bananas and how come they're so cheap. And she's like hearing about exploitation in the industry. And she's like, how is that happening in 2021? Just like her mind was blown. And I think everybody's mind should be blown. Like we really need to rethink it. And the cool thing is that it's still affordable. When we adjust the price for sustainable production on bananas, we're not talking about like a $10 per pound banana. We're talking about adding cents, like, you know, adding 20 in the States is probably, we're looking at adding 20 cents a pound, which works out to like $7-8 a year on your budget, on your food budget, less than $1 a month. It's totally affordable. So there are all these excuses out there and they just don't make sense. And so what's exciting is Equifruit comes in as a brand, and the partners that we work with, we're very loud on social media. We're very loud to position them as a sustainable retailer. And not only are we driving sales and tonnage, but then we get to partner with them on the sustainability side, and we get to talk about the impact of where that fair trade money is being spent. You know, because fair trade is all about paying these stable, sustainable FOB prices to the farmers, and then also paying a $1 US per 40-pound case. And, you know, we get to share the stories of how that impacts farmers and how they spend, because they decide democratically how to spend that $1 per case. And it's all audited by Flowcert. So we have that third party assurance where it's all very traceable, very transparent, which is very important to today's consumer and tomorrow's consumer when we're thinking particularly about Gen Z.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, at this point, if we were at Fresh Summit, I'd be like, well, I got to go talk to someone else, as much as I would love to stand here and chit chat as long as we can. So in the real world, it's actually, I got to go pick up my son from school. Kim, it has been a pleasure and a delight to see the transformation of Equifruit over just the last year since COVID shut everyone down. It sounds like it opened you guys up.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're very fortunate, and we're happy that it caught your attention, and we're just excited to eventually make our way into the US market and see sales grow and see that impact for our growers.